Money laundering. It sounds fancy, doesn't it? Like something out of a spy movie. But it's basically just making dirty money look clean. And it's been around forever, like way before Bitcoin and NFTs. We're talking ancient China, folks. Back then, it was all about tea. Everyone wanted it. But sometimes trading was banned. So, what's a savvy merchant to do? Enter the Hala system. It was like a secret handshake for money. Instead of cash, they used IOUs. Middlemen shuffled them around, settling debts in a roundabout way. Boom! No taxes, no trace. Think of it like this. You sell your friend a slightly used chariot for a goat, but the government wants a cut, so you tell your other friend who owes you a favor to gift a goat to your buyer. Your buyer then finds a chariot they conveniently forgot they owned. Everyone wins, except maybe the tax collector. This, my friends, is Money Laundering 101, and it was just the beginning. Fast forward a few centuries. The British Empire is on the rise, gobbling up land like a hungry hippo at a buffet. And who's leading the charge? The British East India Company. Now, these guys weren't just sipping tea and making polite conversation. They were a corporation, a military force, and a money-making machine all rolled into one. They had their own armies, made deals with kings and built forts. Basically, they were the Beyoncé of colonialism. But running an empire ain't cheap. So what did they do? They got creative. Employees started trading on the side, smuggling silk, spices, and anything else that could turn a profit. Taxes? Who needs them? It was like a company-wide game of hide-and-seek, but with mountains of cash. And the British were really, really good at hiding. Now, let's meet two of the biggest players in this grand game of financial hide-and-seek, Robert Clive and Thomas Pitt. Clive, a British officer, was like the original corporate climber. He worked for the East India Company, but made a killing on the side. How? By liberating valuable treasures and conveniently finding himself on the winning side of very profitable deals. He then used this wealth to buy his way into British society, proving that money can indeed buy you friends, influence, and a really nice house. But Pitt, Thomas Pitt was a different breed. This guy was a master of disguise, at least when it came to money. He bought a massive diamond, the Regent diamond, while working for the East India Company. Now, smuggling a giant rock out of a country is a tad tricky. So what did Pitt do? He hid it in his son's shoe. He then flogged that rock for a king's ransom back in England, washing his dirty money cleaner than a whistle. It was genius, really, except for the whole, exploiting entire nations thing. Okay, fast forward to the 21st century. The British Empire is long gone, but the art of money laundering, alive and well, my friends, and no one proves this better than HSBC, one of the world's biggest banks. Remember those guys who started out financing the opium trade? Yeah, them. Turns out HSBC never really lost its taste for shady dealings. They were caught laundering billions for drug cartels, terrorists, and anyone else who needed to hide their cash. It was a scandal of epic proportions, the kind that makes you want to shower with a bottle of hand sanitizer. The details are messy, but the takeaway is simple. Money laundering is still alive and kicking, and even the biggest banks in the world can get caught with their hands in the cookie jar. And if a bank that once helped fuel the opium trade can't keep its nose clean, what hope is there for the rest of us? That's the thing about money laundering. It might sound complicated, but at its core, it's just plain old greed. And as long as there's money to be made, someone will always find a way to make it dirty.